Welcome to the Soul Fam podcast. I'm Diana Marquetta, and if you're new to this corner, we expand your personal universe. The Soul Fam podcast interviews today's leading and rising experts in spirituality, consciousness, and subject matter that pushes our current understanding of the universe. In this highlight video, we share a few moments with our experts from 2024, our first year on YouTube. In these interviews, we talked about self-realization, ancestral trauma, starseeds, neurodivergence, disabilities, following your dreams, remembering who you were at age 6, and how you want to move forward in the universe. We also got some very strong messages from the Black Dragon about the environment and humanity and what our mission here is on Earth. The angelic realm also graciously visited us with its own message to create heaven on Earth. We also talk about space weather and how that affects our bodies and our existence on this planet. And we got some very strong clues about what's happening in the sky right now. We thank you for being a part of this podcast. Remember to like and subscribe. We appreciate all of our subscribers. We are grateful to all of our experts and to all of our viewers from around the world who have been part of the Soul Fam podcast this year. We look forward to bringing you some more cool stuff for 2025, and I hope you have a fabulous new year. Thank you.
But we're trying to find the center of that infinity circle within us. And this is where the sovereignty comes in. This is the self-empowerment. And this leads to all the sages, including Yogananda, with self-realization. It's what is self-realization? It's understanding the self, that we are the what, the divine essence. Who am I? I know what I am. So practically it's direct experience of that.
Because if we are really living in a way that's harmful to ourselves, how are we going to treat the planet? We're going to create harm for the planet as well. If we're living in a way where we can, honor ourselves and nurture ourselves and take care of ourselves and understand how sacred we are as a being and how we can see that sacredness within ourselves, we can see that sacredness in another person. We also see that same energy and experience within the earth, right? So it really does come down to ourselves in the way that we have to restore that sacred relationship and sacred connection. So with ourselves, with the planet, and with each other. But it starts with ourselves, right?
Like we've talked about what I should be doing, and this feels very right. I don't encourage everyone to go live in 40 miles from a gas station and get a bunch of animals. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing. But
Right.
I do think that part of being here is hoping to reflect of what are the things that we're not pursuing in our life? What was the 6-year-old you lit up by that you put away? And where can you find space, even if it's for 5 minutes, just finding space for that little part of you that needs to be lit up. And I think that goes back to, why Elk Dog is giving back to these horsewomen, because what I'm so impressed about all of the horsewomen I've met is that they choose horses every day. And that's what the life is about. It's
everything is alive. And so that, the trees are saying, they're just communicating with us that it's not silly to connect with a tree. And at first, it may feel like a little silly because it's not something that has been taught in our culture. We have been taught that it's just a thing. It's not alive. But in reference to Pocahontas, which is one of my favorite movies, the earth is not just a dead thing that we walk upon. Everything has spirit, has life force, has energy in it. And as we connect to the life consciousness and living light stream in everything. We feel this interconnectedness to it. We feel more spirit. We feel more alive. And so does it, because we're interacting with it. And so, as we're connecting in, just feel all of the beautiful living animals, the spirit of the animals, your animal totems, the forest, the trees, the elementals, the rocks. Feel them all around you and feel how safe they feel just to connect with their presence, as they've actually been holding space for us all these years.
At 21 years old, 12 years after I became disabled, when I first decided that I wanted to explore what holding and embracing that identity meant, also meant that I found my voice. If you want to turn it in, I wrote a book, I found a community, and I realized that I didn't have to be so alone. And I actually think that part of the way that ableism really does continue to gain more power is when we become more isolated and excluded. It's almost like how the system keeps us disempowered by making us think we don't have any power because we're so isolated in one way or another.
So it doesn't matter that maybe globally things aren't looking great. There's no denying that there's atrocities on this planet every single day. But it's almost like it stops being the part of my reality. My reality is peace. My reality is calm. My reality is flow. Things come well for me because I've done my inner work and I have dealt with the part that is concerning me. And if enough people do this kind of work, then the frequency changes. Like with this popcorn, there will be this critical mass. And I think what we also need to remember is time scale and time-wise. Again, it's not going to be some savior event that something will come from the outside. It comes from within.
And they said that we are capable of creating heaven on earth right now, each within ourselves, that we cannot change the world instantly, but all change begins inside. We have to first learn to create heaven on earth within ourselves, and that will eventually project out. So I'm very much into heaven on earth.
It's a good thing. As above, so below.
Say that again.
As above, so below.
Yes, exactly right. I hadn't heard that expression lately. Yeah, exactly. That's a good expression.
We've actually had in our previous guests, that's actually been told to us by a couple of other very magical beings, very powerful beings, that our mission is to create heaven on earth.
I personally have been in there, and I worked with an angel with a certain name, and then the very next with certain characteristics, and the next day I'll think I'm picking up my Starbucks cup and it'll have that angel's name, and the person will come and take the cup from me and embody the same characteristics and almost look like that angel that came to me in hypnosis. So people get to connect with their angels or the information that's there. But what happens is it's a calibration, and then we get to bring what I call the souvenirs back, which is the power and these wonderful miracles and things that happen, which is super fun to be part of that magic.
Black Dragon is what you want to communicate why you're here today instead of one of the other guides that works with Megan.
Oh, wow. Okay, so there's a message that's supposed to be shared through us today. Is that okay, Black Dragon? Is there a particular message you want to share to the universe through us?
Yes. I wonder what it is.
Black Dragon, is your message related to war?
Black Dragon, is your message related to peace?
Yes.
Slow though. So I can be more specific.
Mm-hmm.
Well, is it related to love? Yes.
Black Dragon, is it related to romantic love?
No.
Black Dragon, is your message about love related to the future of humanity?
Yes.
Black Dragon, is your message of love related to our current state on the earth?
Yes.
Black Dragon, do we lack love on the planet right now?
Yes.
Black Dragon, do we lack love for ourselves?
Yes.
Black Dragon, is part of our job as human beings to love ourselves more.
Yes.
Black Dragon, is part of our job as human beings to love each other more.
Yes.
Black Dragon, do these gestures or acts of love have to be big?
No.
Black Dragon, can these gestures or acts of self-love or love for the greater good, can these be very small?
Yes.
Black Dragon, do these acts of love relate to animals, plants, and the earth in general?
Yes.
Black Dragon, must we love the environment more?
Yes.
Black Dragon, is war necessary?
No.
Black Dragon,
Dragon-
if we... Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, do we each, Black Dragon, do we each of us have what we need to be of service or maybe perform some acts of love in some way? Do we have what we need, each of us? Yes.
Black Dragon, is our primary purpose on earth as individuals. It's our primary purpose to love one another and to love the planet and the animals.
Yes.
But not in the numbers that you think they are. The vast majority of what you're seeing, and I think a conservative estimate is to say somewhere in the neighborhood of like 92 to 96% of these sightings are actually sightings that come from the space war. Which people have no idea. They just don't even think about that. I mean, that started in 1945.
I was talking with an herbalist friend yesterday, and at the very beginning, he mentioned about how like a plant is one waveform and we're another waveform, all part of this greater whole. And so when you bring in that plant consciousness and that plant energy, it can work with you very intelligently. And I guess the same kind of model of understanding can be applied to our solar system. Like the sun is this very big waveform. Sometimes it's just what it is. And we are very mutable and flexible. I think we can work with all these energies as long as we just, go with that, you could say like kind of cosmic flow and feel into it.
Right.
And then who knows where that takes you? Like you undergo this journey, you learn these lessons, and then you have just much greater control, you could say, over your direction in your life and what you want to do after the end of, let's say, a tumultuous period, right? Like after this whole full moon sequence, which looks really crazy, that may bring up a lot for a lot of people. I think that people will be more empowered afterwards. And that's going to be really cool to see how that moves forward for the rest of 2024.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Soul Fam podcast. Be sure to tune in to every episode where we dive into a different rabbit hole of the known and unknown to empower you in conscious living and exploration of the greater universe. We hope you leave each episode with a little stardust in your hair and inspiration in your heart. With love from your Soul Fam.